What is up, guys? Dzeeff here, and yesterday I went to the Garden City Regional Qualifier. To all the people that had me sign their Brilliant Fusions or Gem Knight Garnets or Phantom Knight Cursed Javelins, thank you for making the trip a lot more fun. I always love signing your guys' cards. It's just really cool. But I took Volcanic Frogs, I guess, and I profiled this deck a couple weeks ago. I've updated it a lot since then, and I think this is one of the better variants of Frogs right now. I think that I did not get my invite because I made some really crucial misplays. There was probably one match where it was sort of out of my control, but there were a couple other games where I really just threw the game. But I had a lot of fun, and I actually really like this format. It's not quite as good as the 5 weeks after Zoo got banned and before Spirals came out, but it's pretty close. I played against almost all different decks. I mean, obviously Trickstars, Magicians, and Spirals are the most popular decks, but especially at a regional level, you can pretty much play anything and do well, and that's really exciting. But yeah, let's just get into this deck profile. I don't know if I'd play the Volcanics again. They were like good, but they're also kind of bad. But I don't know. They just make the deck a little more inconsistent than I think it needs to be. But they were fun, and they did win me some games, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, we played 3 Swap Frog, 3 Dupe Frog, 2 Rodent Totem. That's what you play. I always say this, but like, I wish there was a 7th Frog you could play, just because a lot of times you really want that extra summon with the Toad, or the extra summon with the Rodent Totem. But there's not really any good ones. There's like Poison Draw Frog, there's like Flip Flop Frog. Those are just like so much worse than Dupe and Swap Frog that I don't want to play them. So my Volcanic engine was 3 Scattershot, 3 Shell, and then 2 Rocket. And I do want to say, man, it feels so good playing these cards again. Like I said, I don't know if I'll continue playing them, but for the time being, it was a lot of fun. I loved playing Volcanics. I played them like 6 months during 2015. I even played them at the WCQ and started off 5-1, so go me. But I love Volcanics a lot, and I've sort of just had these max rarity Volcanic cards sitting around, and I've been looking for something to play them in. And I've built a few decks with them, but I haven't like gone to an event with them. And I really do. I love drawing 3 cards off of the Blades Accelerator Reload. That's so much fun. But yeah, these cards were okay. I drew a lot of scatter shots when I didn't have Reload. I made a lot of Ring 2s with scatter shots. That was actually pretty common in play. The most common thing that happened is if I didn't open any frogs, but I opened scatter shot and like some paleos, I would summon a scatter shot on my second turn after I had a Paleo, and then I would make Opabania and then get the search. That's kind of cool. Yeah, I did some stuff with them. I didn't really dead draw the shells too much, but I don't know. The Rocket is sometimes kind of bad. I don't know if I'd play 2 of these. I sided out 1 almost every game, just because anytime that you open a Frog and Rocket, you almost always just want to set or summon the Frog. So Rocket was only good when I either had Swap Frog and a Water Monster or didn't have any Frogs. But overall, these cards weren't like terrible. Scatter Shot's especially really good because it clears the board, which is something that frogs have a really hard time doing, and also it does burn damage, and that's pretty cool. So those won me some games. They lost me some games, but overall, they were fun. And that's what it's for. We're just playing for fun. We are playing 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Ogre, and 1 Maxi. All the secret rare hand traps. I don't think I need any more of these. I don't really want to play Droll, because at a regional, there's like a bunch of decks that aren't Spirals, and that's pretty much what happened. Like, there weren't really that many Spirals. I mean, yeah, it was probably the most represented deck, but there were so many different decks. These are all good against like everything. Ogre probably was the worst one here for me, but Ash is obviously really powerful, and Maxi is really good. So, and the reason you want to play, maybe I should play like more hand traps, but I just don't want to. I have the deck size as small as I can get it, but these are really good because you can use Blades Accelerator Reload to draw into them on your opponent's turn, which is kind of neat. The only spells I played were Soul Charge and Regeki. You cannot play Card Demise or Desires in this deck. I don't like these cards in general, but well, in Frogs. But in this deck, you can't play them because if you banish any Scatter Shots with Desires, or if you discard any Scatter Shots with Demise, you instantly lose the game, so you really can't do that. And then when Demise, I just don't like that card in general because you can't play really hand traps, and I think hand traps are a lot better over the course of like a tournament than the couple of times where Demise will just be insane. The Paleos. So we have the 2 best ones. We have the Dust Tornado and the Book of Moon. The overall best one is definitely Olenitis or whatever, how you pronounce that guy. This card is so good. It's weird because like as formats change, different paleos become better. But absolutely, this card is so good. This one's really good going first and really bad going second. But you kind of got to play them because there just aren't any other replacements. So those were the only 3 of paleos. Now for the 2 ofs, we played 2 Dino-Miscus. Now this is kind of weird. Someone who just stopped regional not playing any copies of these, and I can kind of see where they're coming from. Dino-Miscus seems pretty good on paper, but the problem is that almost every time you use this card, you are simply hitting a field spell, and in that case, it is much better to just have this guy to pop it. The Dino-Miscus is almost never getting any... It's almost always just a -1 to kill a card, and that's just not good enough. So I started noticing that the games where I opened multiples of these, I lost a lot of the times, and so I cut it to 2. I never regretted it. Like this card, even still, it was usually like the worst card in my hand. The only like time it was really good was when I had a Blaze Accelerator reload and no Volcanic monsters, or if I had Volcanic Shell and no Blaze Accelerator reload. But if I had Shell and reload, this card wasn't that great because like you need to discard the Shell with reload, and then just whatever you draw, you have the Dino-Miscus. But I don't know, this card isn't like that good anymore. There aren't like a lot of things that you really care about banishing, and you can't even like use it if your opponent has Spiral Resort on the field. You just have to get rid of the Resort with it. And that's just like a -1 to MST your opponent, so it's kind of bad. I played 2 Marilla. I've mentioned before that I don't like this card very much because I don't feel like it does anything, but in this deck, it actually does a whole bunch of stuff because you can use this card to send Blaze Accelerator reload to the grave, and that makes it a board wipe on your opponent's turn. So that card's really good in this version. Speaking of, we did play 3 reload. One of the reasons that I played the large Volcanic engine here is because I really like getting the value off of reload. I understand that you can just play like 1 reload and 3 scattershot, and then just like a regular Paleozoic deck, and maybe that's better. But I really like just being able to get so many draws off of this card because it really just, I mean, this deck really thrives in simplified game states. So like if you can get your opponent, if you can just 1-for-1 trade your opponent down to like nothing, and then flip this card and get some draws, you have a pretty easy time to win. So that's why I like that card. And it's just like one of my all-time favorite traps. We are playing 3 Anti-Spell. This card's insane. Kind of bad going second, but not even that bad. With Spirals a lot of times, because they're so reliant on their field spell. If you're going second and you open the MST and the Anti-Spell, you could MST their field spell before they got the search and then flip Anti-Spell. And that actually really screwed them up, because they're playing a lot of spells now. They're playing double summons, they're playing Foolish Barely Goods, Terraforming, the field spell itself, all these spell cards, and then you just hit them with an Anti-Spell. Seems pretty good to me, and it was pretty good. Lastly, 3 Solemn Strike, 1 Warning. Should these have been evenly matches? Probably. Here, let me clarify something for you guys. I don't actually mind spending money on cards. Like, obviously, I have, like people always say, like, oh, you have Ashes in every deck profile, like, you have the ulti swap frogs, stuff like that. Like, I don't mind spending money on cards if I think I'm going to get my value out of them, and I have gotten my value out of those cards, but evenly match, this is like the only regional I have for like weeks, months even. And I don't think evenly match is going to go up in price. And I didn't think that this regional was that serious. So I didn't really worry about buying that card, because I'm all for buying cards when you're going to get your value out of them, but not when you're not going to get the value out of them. And because I don't have any events on the horizon, I didn't buy them for this event. Maybe down the line I would, but we will have to see. But for this event, these cards were just fine. The main thing here is that these cards are obviously much worse than evenly matched going second, so that kind of sucks. But I think, in general, playing those cards was worth not spending the money on evenly matched just for it to get hit on a ban list, or just for it to sit in, I mean, really, just for it to sit in my deck box for the next 6 weeks. So that's the deal with that. The extra deck is pretty much what I've just been playing. I almost changed 1 card, but I didn't. So we're playing 3 Toad, 2 Opabania. This guy, I made this guy a lot, actually. I made this guy a lot with double Scattershot and a Paleozoic Trap. Like, that happened 3 times. And it did win me the games where I summoned it. Maybe that was like the thing with the last events, is that anytime that I could make this card, I could have just made like a Toad, because that meant I had like 2 Paleos or Paleo and a Frog. When you're playing like the Scattershots and you draw them as often as I do, you can actually make this card, and it was really good in the times that I made it. So Curse Javelin is kind of necessary. These cards basically do the same thing, but not quite. Sky Cavalry is good. Phoenix is alright. I haven't made Cat Shark like ever. 2 Mistar Boy. Almost wanted a third. That was like I almost swapped out one of these 2 cards for the third Mistar Boy. Maybe I should have done that. I don't think it would have mattered. Proxy Dragon and Decode Talker. Made Decode Talker a few times with I would like have some random garbage and a shell, make Proxy Dragon just to get the shell off the field, and then during the next turn I would just like have a shell and a Proxy Dragon. So I just made a Decode Talker, and that actually got in there one time, so that was okay. Side deck, probably could have used some work, but I thought I had some good choices. I feel like that's always the side deck thing. 2 Gamma Seals are pretty good. 1 Droll. Oh shit! I'm borrowing this from someone. I don't actually own. Droll was like the same thing with Evenly Matched. Like I didn't want to buy him, and I got a Notster reprint. But this is my friend's Droll and Lockbird, so I'll have to give that back to him. But this card was pretty good. 1 Lancia for Evenly Matched, and random stuff. These cards are really good. Cosmic Cyclones. The really good card was Spell Shedding Arrow. Holy crap, this card's good. So like you can use this is good because a lot of the time you're just using the Cyclone to hit the field spell, right? This is a field spell format, so you can just like Spell Shattering it, and then you don't pay 1,000 life points. They take 500 life points. And the really cool part about this is when you're going second against Spirals, this is sort of like a budget evenly match, just to let you guys know here. Because when you're going second against Spirals and they have Sleeper with Last Resort and Resort up, you can, when they use the Sleeper effect, they target itself because it's not going to be destroyed. So you can chain Spell Shattering Arrow, pop the Last Resort and the Resort. So that means that the Sleeper is destroyed, which means that their whole field goes. And that's just such a good play. It's just 10 out of 10. That play is so freaking good. So if you didn't know, Spell Shedding Arrow is basically just a budget version of Evenly Matched. But I think it might even have merit, even if you already have that card. 3 Mind Crush. These are really insane. I knew they were going to be good. I made that video about them. But they were good in a lot of other cases too. Because everyone's playing Terraforming, so you can just use Mind Crush to kill the stuff that they add. 3D Barrier, yeah, it was like okay. I don't really play against Pendulums, so this card it's not really good against Trickstars or Spirals, but yeah, I mean, you probably should still side it. 1 Breakthrough Skill. I don't think this card was necessary. The reason you want to play this in Paleo is so you can send Marilla to out Denko, but no one's really playing Denko anymore, and you can send Blazing Soda Reload with Marilla, and that outs the Denko, so like that's not super important. So I don't think I'd play this again. But yeah, that was like this regional. I have a really bad track record against Invoked. I don't think it's not that I haven't been able to beat them, but if we're counting the last regional I went to, and then YCS Dallas, and then this regional, the deck that I have the most losses to is not Magicians or Spirals or Trickstars. It is Invoked, like Invoked variants. Like this deck, I don't know. It's really hard to deal with the 1-card engines, and no deck really plays 1-card engines except the Invoked engine. And like it might seem not like it's not that difficult, but like the Book of Moon guy doesn't do anything against that deck. This guy doesn't do anything if they already have the cards. This guy doesn't do anything. Like these guys don't do like none of these cards like do anything. Strike kind of does something, but sometimes they just already have the guides, so like they don't even need to get the search, and it's like there's just like a lot of stuff that doesn't do anything. Like Toad's obviously good against the deck, but like I don't know. I need to figure out how to beat Invoked. That's like my goal. But anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Thank you to all who came up to me and said hi. It was a lot of fun. Signed a lot of cards. But I will see you guys later. Bye.